amazing.
It has nudity.
And car chases.
True.
So what did you want to ask Guillermo?
Well, I wanted to ask him something. You know, being both, you know, we make films that we want to make, and I was very nervous about coming to Los Angeles to make a movie because where I come from in Europe, if anybody has an opinion, I don't really care, and so. Over here, you know, I was always nervous coming over here because you only hear the horror stories, especially from a lot of European filmmakers, what it's like working in Los Angeles and within a bigger system. And I mean, I ended up having a great experience, by the way, and certainly I was, you know, I was able to make the film I wanted to make miraculously. But the advice that Alejandro Jodorowsky, the great master of El Topo and Holy Mountain, gave me before I came over last year was just smile and nod. If anybody talks to you, just smile and nod. And I did that for quite a while, and you know, thank God they just smiled back. But in terms of were you ever nervous coming to Los Angeles and setting up shop here?
Well, you know, my whole life and the way I've done the movies has been a series of accidents that were completely unplanned, except for a couple of times. I remember, you know, Mimic happened because I owed so much money from Kronos. I was like working to write something that was unique in America, but I didn't wrote the movie that was there, and after the massacre of the production of that movie, I learned the one word that is common to most languages, which is no.
Right.
And you say no. And if they touch you in a place that feels wrong, you say no. You say no, get the fuck away from me. And it was an incredibly valuable lesson because we come from countries where it's almost like you make movies with your friends. You need every goodwill you can muster, and it's very precarious. And here, the politics are very strong. The power struggle is very strong, and I really learned it. And from then on, frankly, it's never been as bad as that first experience. So, and then the only two times I've made really conscious decisions was when they wanted me to shoot Blade 2 before I shot Devil's Backbone. Right. And I said, no fucking way. I'm gonna shoot this movie first, and then I'm gonna do your movie. And if I really am important for you, you'll wait for me, and if not, God bless. Yeah. You know, and the second time was with Pan's Labyrinth, when I take a decision of equal. But it's rare that you decide which movie happens. People say, why don't you do this movie? I go, how the fuck can I do it? I need 80 million, 90 million. You cannot get them that easily. I looked under the table and the pockets. They're not there. But it's an adventure. It's worth having. It's a little bit like Valhalla Rising. Every time you come out of the cage, you go, who the fuck is there? And I'm like, let me take them.
But it's almost like you can see, you know, Hollywood was created by European filmmakers coming to America and making films all the way back to the 20s. So it's almost like a natural evolution. And if you can have the best of both worlds, because I mean, getting films made in Los Angeles in the system that distributed it the way it does is if you want to make a movie and you want people to see it, that's your route to really go.
I think thank God for people like Bob Burney and Film District. Yeah. Bob Burney is the master. He has a gigantic ball sack. He needs a cartwheel to carry it. You know, Ginny, his wife, is right there with him carrying the
She's
ball.
Carrying it, by the way.
She probably has an equal sized ball sack, but these are guys that take a risk. They distributed Pan's Labyrinth. They're distributing these two movies, and you know, I really think that what we need. People talk about how brave a filmmaker is, and how brave are the people that really put it in front of an audience, you know, and they don't go for the safe choices, you know.
Which is very important because, I mean, the chief enemy of creativity is safety. You know, it's like, you know, Picasso used to say the chief enemy is good taste. and you know, good taste is a vast definition, but being safe is always dangerous. And
for artists it is, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, it's, you know, competition breeds creativity, and in a way, you know, creativity is the most, as I see it, the most capitalistic thinking tank, because it has no rules, there's no regulations, it's all about ideas. And that's why, at least for me, you know, you get hooked on it, because this sheer notion of creating is the ultimate high.
Yeah, and I think you were asking, we were talking earlier, I wanted to ask, if you don't mind, one final question.
Yeah, I'll sit back.
But no, but is you know, the movies, Pusher, Valhalla, Bronson, all them, they have a tonal, I mean, they're all your movies, you can identify some of your style, but they have a very strong, very difficult tonal decision that is very coherent with the story and what you're telling. Like, there's some that are Kubrickian, some that are completely, this is hardcore 70s. The score is fucking amazing, but is the evoking part of the score is that era of filmmaking. Are these decisions you make as an inspirational tone for these movies?
Well, I think that I always try not to make the same movie again. So I always try to put myself in obstacles. And I think it comes maybe from insecurity, really, of saying, oh my God, if I make the same movie again, then maybe I don't have any talent. I'm just a hack. So it's out of desperation almost. But I try to think of situation where, like, if you take the Pusher trilogy, which are these 3 movies, I mean, one thing is for sure, the world doesn't need any more gangster movies, but then if you make them about people in a criminal environment, it becomes different. It suddenly becomes stories about people that are caught in a system they can't get out of. And then those kind of films wanted a very documentary, authentic approach, so I would cast real drug dealers playing themselves and so forth. And then, like you, I had gone, you know, I owed a lot of money, so I've been there as well. And believe me, people, owing money is sometimes great energy for going out and just doing something and get something done, you know, because. And then when it came to Bronson, I mean, who wants to see a prison movie? And I certainly didn't. But I had an idea, if I made a prison movie like an opera about a man wanting to become famous, you can, like that. And then on Valhalla Rising, I just had this idea that I hated Vikings, and I hate Vikings movies and everything to do with Vikings. But I thought it could be interesting to do a Viking movie as a science fiction film.
Yes.
And use the surroundings as the landscape
alien planet, yeah,
of another planet. And with Drive, it was very much like a fairy tale idea, but if I could use a lot of European electronic late 80s score, it would give it a strange feel to it. So you always try to combine obstacles, and through that comes some kind of interesting form out of it, and then, you know, not shooting it in a more, not shooting, as you said, genre convention wise, but the theme or genre, but maybe shoot them.
And the emotional part.
Yes.
I mean, because ultimately, you saw this piece, the movie is incredibly thrilling and titillating, and it's really, you have that raw emotional nerve that or exploitation or a thriller chase with. Ultimately, the approach to it is obliquely European, serene, deliberate. I mean, I think it's a fantastic combination.
Thank you.
Well, we should probably open it up to questions.